Derek Chauvin. He was found guilty on all 3 counts, and even though this verdict was read across our country, it was felt throughout the nation and in our Central Valley.
Finally, we got one win, but it's like this is something we all saw on live TV happen for 9 minutes. So it's like for this to carry on for this long, it just feels like what was there to investigate? You know what I mean? Like it was all in our faces and it was replayed for us over and over and over again. So it's like this investigation didn't really need to happen because we all saw it happen live.
Many like Woods are saying they feel a sense of relief. Celebrations like this outside the courthouse in Minneapolis had people saying they were happy, but still surprised based on other recent police shootings.
We've seen that same thing over and over again, like blatant murders called accidents. Oh, I thought it was my taser, it was my gun. Oh, they somehow were found dead in police custody. Oh, it looked like a gun, but apparently it was a cigarette lighter, a wallet, a phone. It's always something.
Derek Chauvin is now in jail, and he will stay there until the judge sentences him in June. At the least, he can get 12.5 years per murder charge, according to Minnesota law.
Last month's killing of a street vendor in Fresno is highlighting a big safety concern. Many are anxiously weighting their family and business responsibilities to their ability to stay safe. Gio Alvarado introduces us to a street vendor who continues to work while paying extra attention to his surroundings.
Whether he's promoting his produce in Spanish or English, Daquan Thomas is a street vendor on the corner of Jensen and Chestnut in Fresno.
I sell here on the corner to bring the local fruit to everybody.
3 years ago, when he started his job, things were tough.
I was a little nervous because I didn't really know anyone in the area, but after being here for a little while, I realized I know tons of different people.
Now, Thomas feels safe where he sells, but he is aware of the recent spike in violence towards street vendors he has personally experienced.
He had the money in his hand, and then I reached to go grab the money and to give him his fruit, and he snatches back the money, snatches the fruit with his family in the car.
Street vendors can be seen all around the Central Valley. Some are found at flea markets and some at street corners, just like this one behind me. There are around 125 street vendors listed in the city of Fresno, and the city of Fresno wants to help. Councilman President Luis Chavez and his supporters have created an association to help ease their fear. This is supported by Fresno Police Chief.
They're at a little bit of a disadvantage. You know, they're not like a store where there's a surveillance camera or a phone right there where you can call 911 or an alarm. They don't have any of that.
The association will help provide better safety and, most importantly, navigate street vendors to get city and county permits.
Some of them may not have the proper licensing to be able to operate as a street vendor. Well, that's not primarily the police department's job.
Chief Balderrama wants street vendors to know that they shouldn't be afraid to call the police, even though they are undocumented.
The Fresno Police Department is not ICE, and we don't have arrest powers in that area. So that's a misconception.
Thomas will continue to be extra careful while selling fruits. In Fresno, Gio Alvarado, Fresno State Focus.
Members of the community continue to show support for street vendors and raise money for the man who was killed last month. This Sunday will be another event, lunchtime at Tacos El Palmar on Butler Avenue.
Over the last year, many people lost their jobs because of COVID. Wyatt Babb shows us how some are bouncing back after a tough year.
During the pandemic, hours were cut and several businesses closed their doors, leaving many people scrambling to find work. People like Sydney Tucker, who lost her dream job at Disney World, all because of COVID.
It was awful. I mean, we were literally all in tears, holding each other. It got to the point where guests in the actual park were like holding college program students as they were crying.
But when one door closes, another one opens. Sydney found a new happiest place on earth, working with preschoolers. A bad situation turned to good. Kyle Graff knows that feeling as well. Graff was about to start a job at Fresno Unified until they could no longer hire him, all because of COVID. Kyle found an unexpected job cleaning pools.
This was completely different from what I expected I was going to do. I did not think I was going to deal with chemicals. I thought I was going to wear slacks.
Graff's temporary job has helped him realize new goals, like going back to school.
I'm actually going to get my master's right now, which I probably wouldn't have been able to do if I was doing a full-time job at anywhere else.
With new goals realized and new careers started, the good from the pandemic is finally starting to balance out the bad.
She may not be at the happiest place on earth,
and he never pictured his office to be poolside. But both have come out on the other side with a better outlook and a brighter future, all because of COVID.
Everything happens for a reason. And so, you know, I wasn't meant to get that job, man. And if honestly, it's worked out in more ways than one.
I was put where I should be put, and I don't regret losing Disney as much as I thought I would.
For Fresno State Focus, I'm Wyatt Babb.
According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the unemployment rate is slowly returning back to normal as many are still trying to bounce back from pandemic-related job losses.
OnlyFans. Have you heard of it? It's a website where creators make content for their fans. Creators get money from those fans each month in return for the content they create, and that content tends to be, well, sexual. Some college students have been using this site to pay for tuition. Everyone has different ideas of what is acceptable and what isn't, says Fresno State's director of the Ethics Center, Professor Andrew Fiala.
If someone thinks they can make a fast buck by selling pictures of themselves, but then what about their parents? What about their grandparents? What about, you know, their friends and people that may not want their loved one to do that?
It's easy to say what you wouldn't do if you were in someone else's shoes, but what if you were actually being offered thousands of dollars for a few lingerie pictures? Would you still turn down that offer?
So I've made around like $2,000 to $3,000 in these past few months.
$3,000 can pay for up to 6 units at Fresno State, as you can see on their website. So it's understandable why Ramirez was doing OnlyFans to pay for her college. With all that money coming in, though, even she doesn't know when she's going to quit.
I was already going to stop it like this last month, but then I got like a few more subscribers here and there, and then I was just like, oh, it's like a quick $100, $200 here and there. So I'm just like...
Even though Ramirez is free with her body and sexuality, she understands not everyone feels the same way. But she believes everyone has the right to do whatever they want with their body, and Fresno State Professor Fiala agrees.
You know, adults have the right to do what they want with pictures of themselves and their own bodies.
In a way, you sell your body or like yourself in anything anyways, but this one just a little more on the explicit side.
Each helping to pay her way through college towards getting her business degree. In Clovis, Tasha Turner with Fresno State Focus. If OnlyFans is something you are considering for yourself, Ramirez recommends to know where your boundaries lie. In order to know your boundaries, you have to understand your morals. I talked with Professor Fiala and asked him what morals are and how to know if you're in a moral dilemma.
An ethical dilemma, moral dilemma is when there are two things and both of them are right and they conflict with each other. So like a typical kind of dilemma would be like you're supposed to be loyal to your friend, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, like there's loyalty. But then if they tell you something that is like illegal, should you tell the authorities what they told you? So now like the conflict is telling the truth versus staying loyal to your significant other or whatever. That's a dilemma.
If a student were to come to you and ask you for help on like an ethical decision, how would you guide them?
What I do with students, if people, when we get in this space, after all of that, then what you want to do is clarify, like, what do you believe in terms of fundamental values? Are you focused on trying to make as many people happy as possible? We call that utilitarianism. Are you focused on respecting other people's rights? That's kind of like natural law or natural rights perspective. Are you really just focused on like your own self-interest? So then the word for that is egoism. And what happens is a lot of times students don't really know, right? They haven't really thought about like what are their fundamental values. Could be religion too, right? Could be like religious background. And then a lot of times people are conflicted because like you want to maximize your own self-interest, but you also realize that you should be concerned with the happiness of others, right? So that's a kind of dilemma also.
Well, thanks a lot for answering a bunch of my questions. You were a great help.
Coming up on Fresno State Focus, we take a look at how Earth Day will be celebrated tomorrow. Plus, you can't just walk into the rodeo this year. You have to have something with you. We'll tell you just what that is when we come back.
And I'll let you know when we might see rain in the valley. We'll be right back with your focus on weather.
At Fresno State, being bold means committing to something greater than yourself. It's learning by doing and nurturing leaders to advance our shared future. It's using research to create a better life for those around us and healing those who need us most. These are our stories, because at Fresno State, bold begins here.
Success. At Fresno State, it's no secret. It's discovering new ways to change our world. It's creating opportunities as diverse as our community itself. It's in the distinction of our graduates as they lead us into the future. Success is no secret at Fresno State. It's our mission.
I'm Gio Alvarado with your focus on weather. Video recorded earlier from the Rose Garden shows that the roses are being moved, and this is because a low system affected the area yesterday and is still affecting us today. Your nationwide satellite shows that the system that brought winter weather conditions to much of the United States is now slowly moving out of the area. Your regional satellite shows that here in the Central Valley, we're not going to be affected by any weather systems, but to our friends in the south, there is some snow and some rain showers in the Sierras. Today's high temperature is going to be in the upper 70s for the entire Central Valley, and for the foothills and the Sierras, it's going to be in the 50s and 60s. Tonight's temperature is going to be in the upper 40s to mid-50s for the whole Central Valley. Whether you're going to take your dog for a walk or go to the Clovis Rodeo, your all-day forecast looks like this. By Friday, it's going to be 76, Sunset is going to be 75, and tonight is going to be a cool 78, so Lola might like that walk. Your focus on air quality is good for these counties and good and moderate for Kings and Kern counties. Your extended outlook looks like this. By Wednesday, partly cloudy. Thursday, Friday, temperatures will be slowly going up, and by Saturday, a low system is going to be affecting the Central Valley. And by Sunday, take those umbrellas out because we have a 60% chance of rain, and by Monday, a 30%, and by Tuesday, temperatures will be slowly going up. And that is your focus on weather. Now back to you.
As Earth Day approaches tomorrow, Georgette Garcia shows us how Earth Day Fresno is planning on celebrating.
As Fresno Earth Day is being held virtual due to health concerns, the organization is still getting the community involved. Weeks leading up to the event, there has been community activities to help create more environmental awareness. It has been a challenge to be virtual this year, however.
So we wanted to try to mix it up with having in-person with some of the organizations that have already been planning to do in-person events and in a safe manner.
Earth Day Fresno is teaming up with Tree Fresno to plant trees around town, as well as U.S. Green Building Council to show a socially distanced movie screening on regenerative agriculture. Popcorn was handed out with QR codes to join the online chat forum for the discussion panel before the movie.
So this year for Earth Day, we are in this time of global awareness, and it is challenging to step out. But we wanted to take time to really show what people are doing in our community, particularly organizations, nonprofits, civic and environmental.
The event is teaming up with over 13 local organizations, including many of Fresno State committees.
To celebrate the 51st Annual Earth Day, you can sign up online at the Climate Center website under Earth Day Fresno 2021. There you can see the list of organizations involved this year. Happy Earth Day, Georgette Garcia, Fresno State Focus.
Earth Day is tomorrow, April 22nd. For additional information, head to earthdayfresno.org.
Trading in the drive to the grocery store for a walk in the backyard may sound convenient, but it is no easy task. Robert Ortega Jr. shows us the work one man has put towards turning his Squall Valley property into a food forest.
I got to see which ones are best for property.
Lázaro Alvarado began his permaculture journey 2 years ago here in Squaw Valley. Permaculture stands for permanent agriculture. It requires patient planning, constant care, and a vision for the future.
You don't come in with your ideas of this is the way I'm going to have my land. It's a rectangle, and this is going to be here, this is going to be there. You come and observe the land generally for a year, and then you let the land tell you where things should be.
To collect water, Alvarado is digging a pond in the lowest part of the land. Under the natural shade of an oak tree, his chickens provide eggs and manure. His garden is close to his home to easily tend to daily. In a flat, open spot of the land, you can find the food forest. It is here that a variety of crops will grow both food and medicine for Alvarado and all living organisms in the ecosystem.
The food forest is carefully designed in layers, which are meant to work with one another and sustain each other over time. It starts anywhere from the low fungi and herbaceous plants that provide nutrients to the soon-to-be canopy trees, which are going to provide shade.
This layered approach promotes sustainable fertility and biodiversity in the ecosystem.
Form of agricultural design where you're using microorganisms, pests, natural resources. You have all of these other forms of life working together in an eco-friendly environment to help provide the crop with that nutrition that it needs.
Once completed, Alvarado will have a self-sustaining grocery store in his own backyard. In Squaw Valley, Robert Ortega Jr., Fresno State Focus.
Alvarado's work is far from finished. He continues to build what he calls a permanent culture of life from the ground up.
The Clovis Farmers Market will soon be happening twice a week. Next Friday, April 30th, people will be able to get local produce Friday nights as well. Saturday mornings at the Clovis Farmers Market are busy year-round with local and fresh produce.
The Clovis Rodeo is back this year. Let's find out more with Carissa King.
The 107th Clovis Rodeo is back in town this weekend.
In order to attend, you must wear a face mask except while eating or drinking, and have proof of a complete COVID-19 vaccination card or negative test result taken within 72 hours of the first performance you attend. If you are a ticket holder, the Clovis Rodeo is offering free COVID-19 testing in advance, offered at many testing centers throughout the Clovis community. If you are interested in attending any of the rodeo performances Thursday through Sunday, you can purchase your tickets at the Clovis Rodeo ticket office. For more information, you can also visit clovisrodeo.com or call 559-299-5203. From the Clovis Rodeo grounds, I'm Carissa King with Fresno State Focus.
The Bulldogs had another successful weekend. Let's take a quick look at sports. Women's tennis swept Utah State 4-0 on Saturday and beat Boise State 4-3 on Sunday. The baseball team held on to beat San Diego State on Saturday, but lost a heartbreaker on Sunday. The softball team opened its 5-game homestand with a doubleheader sweep over St. Mary's on Saturday. That was their 10th win of the season. Get your spirit gear ready. More fans can fill the stands. Sports can have fans at 20% capacity for baseball. Single game tickets are available first come, first serve. They are $5 per ticket, but you need to get them ahead of time. You can buy them online or by calling the Bulldog ticket office. Softball tickets are sold out for the season, and football season passes are available online or by calling the Bulldog ticket office. With our county moving into the orange tier, more opportunities are opening back up. That is your focus on sports. We will be right back.
Here in the valley, our colors are blue and our waves are red. Bulldog born and Bulldog bred. Generations linked forever by traditions that have stood the test of time. Inside our stadiums, we are one. This is our valley, and this year, we're doing it for you.
At Fresno State, being bold means committing to something greater than yourself. It's learning by doing and nurturing leaders to advance our shared future. It's using research to create a better life for those around us and healing those who need us most. These are our stories, because at Fresno State, bold begins here.
Living life through the pandemic has been far from easy. Now imagine having a baby. Leticia Leal shows us how one mom did just that.
Katie Botello went through her first pregnancy through a pandemic.
I had nothing to compare it to.
Jordan was born March 28th at 3 pounds, a preemie. This baby girl is still in the NICU.
Everyone keeps asking me, what's it feel like to be a mom now? And honestly, it doesn't feel like I am a mom. It makes me really sad because I had a baby and I left her there.
In December, Katie tested positive for COVID.
Before COVID, I had already been told that there was complications with her growth. But then I got COVID and we weren't sure if that was going to add to the complications. I was 35 weeks pregnant and found out that I had preeclampsia.
Preeclampsia can be dangerous because it can cause high blood pressure. For Katie, it was getting so dangerous, she was induced at 35 weeks.
I was at risk for having a seizure at any moment. They induced me, they called Sonny to the hospital, and when he got there, they also had to do a standard COVID test.
And just as they were about to deliver the baby, her test came back positive. But Katie was certain she could not have COVID again.
When they pulled her out, I didn't get to see her, hold her, touch her. They put her in an incubator because she was so small. The doctors came in and said I wouldn't be able to see her for 10 days because of the COVID.
But a call from infectious diseases confirmed she in fact did not have COVID, but mild traces from her previous infection months ago. Jordan is expected to come home within the next 1 or 2 weeks to finally stay in her comfortable crib.
I just think it'll feel real when she's here in her room where she's supposed to be.
We're making sure to stay safe and to keep her safe, but we're also getting anxious to bring her home.
A pregnancy that was far from a normal experience is now a story the Botellos will tell baby Jordan for the rest of her life.
Don't mess with my toot-toot.
Sonny and Katie are taking turns going to the hospital to see Jordan. Because of COVID restrictions, only one parent is allowed there at a time.
The Institute for Media and Public Trust is continuing its effort to transform local newsrooms. The Institute's mission is to improve the trust people have in media. Its latest initiative is the Journalists of Color program. The goal is to diversify local newsrooms and help students break into the field.
So much of your ability to break into the field is your ability to meet people and network. And so connecting these students with people who are already working in the industry so that they will be better positioned to land good jobs when they graduate.
Applicants must be high school seniors and pursue a journalism degree at Fresno City or Fresno State. They can apply online. The first class will be selected in October.
It's National Administrative Assistant Day. Trevor Widger is outside the Athletic Administrative Building right now to talk to one of our very own Fresno State administrative assistants.
I'm just outside the Duncan Athletic Building in honor of Administrative Assistants Day, and I'm here today with Anessa Leydig, who's the Executive Assistant for the Director of Athletics here at Fresno State. Anessa, how are you today?
Hi, Trevor. I'm doing well. Thank you.
Glad to hear it. So tell us a little bit about the many important responsibilities that administrative assistants have here on campus.
Well, administrative assistants have a bouquet of responsibilities, anywhere from just helping with the day-to-day operations to information management. Scheduling is a very huge piece, as well as maintaining confidentiality in some places.
Awesome. And how long have you been with us here at Fresno State?
I've been with Fresno State in the Department of Athletics for 15 years. I started out as an admin support coordinator, and now I'm the executive assistant to the Director of Athletics here in Fresno State.
Very impressive. Now, before we go, are you planning on treating yourself in some way in honor of the holiday?
Oh, wow. Well, I chose to honor my colleagues today by sending them a personalized note and just thanking them for what they do. I'll go home, open up a box from End Zone's table, and start it all over tomorrow.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here today, Anessa. It's been a privilege. And this has been in honor of Administrative Assistants Day. I'm Trevor Widger for Fresno State Focus.
Fresno is home to over 40,000 Armenians. When the attacks in Armenia began last year, our campus community wanted to help. The Sigma Alpha Epsilon fraternity at Fresno State and National Raisin held a t-shirt sale to raise money. They brought in over $22,000 for the Armenian Missionary Association of America. The money will go toward after-school educational programs for children in Armenia.
The Fresno State blood drive went well this year. The blood center tells us 85 people gave blood last week, 79 on campus and 6 at the blood center. There is still a huge need for blood. Donors are always welcome. Just please wear a mask and no appointment is needed.
Vintage Days looked a little different this year. Fresno State's largest on-campus event, which usually looks like this, was virtual this year. There was a DJ night, story time with Victor E., live yoga sessions, and many more events from the lineup.
I was worried about it being online, that maybe it won't be as much fun, but to me it was just as much fun because I was safe and I was at home and I wasn't putting my life at risk or other people's lives at risk, which I was really worried about.
A more traditional Vintage Days is expected for next year.
Now it's time to meet more of your Fresno State Focus News team. Robert Ortega Jr. is a senior with a double major in MCJ and Communications. Smith Camp Family Honors College led Robert to Fresno State. He's had some great experiences throughout his college career, including being a member and president of Sigma Nu fraternity. He also got involved in the study abroad program in London.
Now it's time to meet Leticia Leal. Leticia is a broadcast journalism major. She works part-time editing a TV show for Scripps Network and hopes to work in a newsroom when she graduates in the fall.
Even though I still have one semester left before I graduate, I'm very excited for what's to come because being a first-gen college student has not been easy for me, and I really hope it's going to pay off.
She also has many hobbies, from collecting Legos to working on her cars. She always finds things to keep busy. And that's our newscast. Get out, enjoy the rodeo or a Fresno State game, and maybe some cooler weather this weekend.
Yeah, maybe we'll even get some rain. Who knows? We will see you next time with more Fresno State Focus.